right. Am I live? Hello. I'm back. I'm back, everybody. We're back. I think the stream is working correctly. We'll see. Okay, yeah. I do have to update the chat thing because it's now outdated. So let me fix that real quick. Yeah. So let me get rid of that. No, let me change the source real quick. I gotta fix that because that's messed up now. Yeah, to be fair, I was getting a little bit too, I guess, lenient with the clips I was using. Toho is, they're like Nintendo. They suck when it comes to that type of stuff. Because God forbid I promote their films, but that's fine. It's not like they really have easily accessible ways to watch them, anyways. But that's neither here or there. Okay, let me pop out this real quick. Let me get the link for it so that. So yeah, this is gonna be a 2-part stream apparently. Just one part immediately after the other. Definitely intentional. It was very funny that it got blocked. I didn't notice it for a while. Let's see. There we go. Okay, chat's back. We're good. We're going to not use any more clips because apparently Toho does not like that. We'll use still images instead. We can get the point across with that. That was funny that it got blocked, though. That is hilarious. I find that to be very amusing. But, yeah, anyway, Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, great movie. And I'm going to move a little bit faster, too. So there's that. So yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. We're back. Let's get back into this. Okay. All right. Moving on. We have Godzilla versus Gigan. This movie's great. I love this one. Yeah, it introduces Gigan, who is awesome. I don't think we need to discuss that one. I think most of us love Gigan. He's great. I mean, come on. Look at this dude. Come on. Buzzsaw for a chest, big claw arms. I mean, come on. Design's peak. It just is that good of a design. And I think he makes Godzilla bleed and all that fun junk. And I honestly think this is the best Ghidorah is in the entire Showa era because he actually has a decent amount of screen time. And he does do a number on Godzilla in this one, even if there's stock footage reused a lot. But I just think this movie does him very well. And it's so much fun to watch. He's aggressive. Gigan just makes such a good entrance. And of course, it's the movie where Godzilla and Anguirus team up, which is always awesome. And in the American version, they talk in English for some reason, which is iconic. And I would show the scene, but I don't want to get copyright struck again, so I'm not going to. Yeah, great movie. I'm putting it in Godzilla tier for now. I might knock it down. I'm not 100% sure if I will, but we'll see. We'll see. I think low Godzilla tier for now, I think is a pretty reasonable place to put it. Godzilla vs. Megalon, though. I think this movie is just even better than Godzilla vs. Gigan. It cranks up the absurdity to an even higher degree. And of course, it introduces Megalon, my second favorite kaiju of all time. Dude, Megalon is peak. Megalon is great. He is fantastic. He's beautiful. He's amazing. Come on. Look at this guy. Look at this goober. We love Megalon here. Megalon is the best. I mean, I made a whole video about him. Literally, the video, instead of making a design ranking after the first Godzilla one, I was like, no, screw that. Megalon deserves attention. That's what we're doing here. That's what he deserves. He's covered up, of course, but yes. this is still my favorite video I've ever worked on, by the way. That was the most fun I ever had making a video. It was so much fun. But yeah, no, I love this movie. It's stupid, campy. It's campy, but that makes it good. It's like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. It's so campy that it just works. And of course it has Jet Jaguar, Jet Jaguar. The whole song, Megalon doing the freaking gritty. It's just, there's so many iconic moments from this movie. And, I get why it's objectively not good, but I don't care. This movie is too much fun. It's endlessly entertaining, and I could watch it any day of the week because it's that good, in my opinion. Okay, so we're through most of the Showa movies now. Also, let me fix this a little bit. Okay, so we're through most of the Showa movies at this point. So, let me fix my thing. It's all messed up now. Oh, and of course, the Megalon dropkick. Who could... That scene is forever going to be the most beautiful scene in all of cinema, in my opinion. Just every part of Megalon is just peak, honestly. But well, since we're running out of Showa movies to look at, let's do Millennium. We haven't done a Millennium film yet, and what better way to start than with the first one, Godzilla 2000. To me, Godzilla 2000 is like the most average Godzilla movie there is. It's not bad. I think it's quite good. In fact, I think it's actually one of the most rewatchable Godzilla movies. Like, whenever I think of a Godzilla movie to watch, I kind of pop in 2000. It's an easy watch. It's an enjoyable, easy watch. It's a jack of all trades, but a master of none, I think is the best way to describe 2000. Because outside of it having the best Godzilla design to date, it really doesn't excel in anything else. The soundtrack's really good. I love the soundtrack, but... Oh, yeah, of course, and it came out in 1999, which... just so annoying. The year is wrong. But I do like Godzilla 2000. It was good course correction from 1998. It's not exceptional. It gets the job done, though, and I think it's a very enjoyable Godzilla film and a pretty good introduction to the series if you're just getting started. It gives you a nice taste of what the series can offer. It's far from exceptional, but it's far from being terrible. It's a good film, but... doesn't have that, it doesn't really have any of its that special sauce that makes it better than, that quite gets up to Godzilla tier. Which is more than I can say for this fucking abomination of a film. Godzilla vs. Megaguirus is shockingly bad. It is impressive how not good this one is. I think it's actually the worst looking Godzilla film. I think it has the worst special effects of the entire series. They look really bad. And they use this choppy slow motion so much for the movie. This really choppy slow-mo. And it's just, so bad. I cannot believe how atrocious it is. Megaguirus is a cool kaiju, don't get me wrong. And I like the, horror scene they have with the smaller Megaguirus that kills this guy, but, outside of that, the human characters, I think it has the worst human cast of any Godzilla movie. There's not a single one I actually like. They're all just not likable. The main character is super just annoying. The intro person. They're just... I don't care about them. And I don't really care about this movie either. I love the Millennium Era. The Millennium Era of Godzilla is my favorite era of Godzilla. And this is the one I skip because it's just this one's not good. It ain't it. It just ain't it. It's still better than all these movies though. We'll save GMK for later. Let's take a trip to the US. They gave us this abomination, but thankfully, and this is going to be controversial, 2014 is my favorite MonsterVerse movie by quite a mile, actually. I like this movie a lot. I know everyone dogs on it because, they killed Bryan Cranston in the first act, but I actually like Ford Brody. I like his son. I like this guy. He's not the most interesting character in the world. He's not that interesting. But he's such a likable guy. You can't hate this guy. He's so nice. He's just a very likable character. How can you hate this dude? He's just a good person. A good-natured person. Plus, you still have a lot of iconic... I love the speech that the general and Sarazawa have. I think it's because I played sound, honestly. I think I played too much sound in, too many clips in a row. Let's let's test our luck here. I'm gonna play more clips without sound, because I don't think they mind too much if it's like without sound or whatever. I think it was just because I was playing them without anything in the background. That was my mistake. I was probably playing too many clips, but the one thing I'll say though, the sense of scale in this movie is unmatched, and I wish the later MonsterVerse movies matched the same scale. Like, this is the one Godzilla movie that really shows you how insanely huge Godzilla actually is. Like just look. This shot is iconic for a reason. It is so good. It is such a good shot. Like the slow pan up, and then it goes into the roar. Like, that's an entrance and a half. And of course, you have iconic lines like "Let them fight," and the entire conversation that Serizawa and the general have, where like he gives him the watch that his grandfather had from like Nagasaki, I think it was. Like, that scene was also very powerful. I think that was a very like cool scene. And just, I think Godzilla 2014 deserves more respect. I think too many people hate it because they always complain, oh, he's not in the film enough. But I think he's in the film just enough to make enough of an impact. Plus, I like the Mutos. I think the Mutos are kind of badass, to be honest. I think they're very cool designed kaiju. And I wish people gave more respect. And 2014 gets dogged on so much, and I don't think it deserves it. Especially since it has the Halo jump scene, which is one of the coolest scenes in the entire franchise. Like, the cinematography. Gareth Edwards directed it, the same dude who did Rogue One. And oh my god, he is so good at creating amazing shots. He is a great, cinematographer. It's so good. But, great director overall. Love him. Yeah, a little sneak peek. I'm working on the episode. It's not going to be the next major episode. That one's going to be I can probably show it later, but yeah. Anyway, speaking of Mothra, let's talk about this movie. Fuck this movie. Rebirth of Mothra 2 is the worst movie in the Godzilla franchise, in my humble little opinion. It is insanely bad. And I am impressed by how horrible it is because of how much I like the first one and how much I like the third one as well. The second one is just no interesting characters. The special effects are somehow worse than they were in the first one. The plot line's just not as interesting. I like the monster, Dagara. They're kind of cool, but not really that memorable. And I found it to be boring with thoroughly uninteresting characters, and also the stupid Furby thing in Rebirth 2. Just, why? That's... yeah, I don't know why I thought I could do Rebirth 2 and expect that to show up. What's the character? What's the monster called? Let's see. Monsters. The Go-Go. I hate this thing. I hate this thing so much. Why does it exist? And also, for some reason, its main ability is that it has healing piss. That's not a joke, by the way. There's a scene where it literally, it's a first-person perspective shot of it peeing on somebody. And why the fuck does that need to exist? That scene made me feel so uncomfortable, I wanted to, turn off the entire movie. It was that, disgusting. Why does that exist? And that alone, in addition, well, not that alone. The overall movie is terrible. But that point alone is what actually makes it the worst. Just, it is disgrace. This movie is the disgrace to Mothra, and Mothra Leo deserved better than this film. I hate this movie. It's the only other Godzilla movie I hate besides 98, and it deserves its place at last. Because Jesus Christ, this is one of the worst movies I have ever watched in my life. Rebirth 2 is so bad. It's shocking how bad it is. I don't know how they messed it up so bad, but they did. They did. Anyway, Mothra rant over. Let's finish off the Mothra series with Rebirth 3. Rebirth 3 and Rebirth 1 are honestly equal for me. I like both of them a lot. I think Rebirth 3 has the better action. And I mean, the Mothra song, the Hyra Mothra, is so good. That entire sequence of her Mothra traveling through time is really cool. Her going back to he, because it's Mothra Leo, him going back into the Cretaceous era is such a cool scene. I just really think, and also, again, 1998's not. I don't like it that much, but it does have good aspects. I can at least admit that. It's at least better than Rebirth 2, so it has that going for it. Okay, Planet Eater that high, it's like it's not even that high. It's not that high. It's still towards the bottom. Come on. It's not that bad. It's not good, but it's not that bad. But yeah, Rebirth 3, hella underrated. Really good movie. I love it. And if you're going to watch the Rebirth of Mothra trilogy, just watch the first and third. Do yourself a favor and skip the second. The second didn't need to exist. The third one, really excellent. Has great character development from the, how the three of like Mothra's fairies in that universe. Great character development, especially for like the evil one. I can't think of the name right off the top of my head, but Rebirth 3 is great. But yeah, okay, this movie's not that bad. Let's calm down here. It was disappointing, sure, but I do think it had some cool aspects to it. Like, I think Void Ghidorah was cool before, he started fighting Godzilla, but I'd still rather watch it over Mega Gearus or... Let's destroy all monsters, right? Yeah, you know what? I'll put Ibra above it, actually. I like City on the Edge of Battle, though. I will say. I do like this movie. Yeah, I think at the bottom of Rodan tier is fair. Son of Godzilla would be a unit up if it wasn't for how terrible its suits look, to be honest. Alright, well, let's return to the Showa era with Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. I don't super care for this film. I know it's a fan favorite, but I kind of liked Godzilla vs. Gigan and Megalon more, just because they were more batshit insane than this one was. I do love the monkey people. I do think the monkey people in this movie are hilarious. The monkey aliens. Also, Mechagodzilla, obviously showing Mechagodzilla is a peak design. I mean, like, this design is just classic. Classic design. Also, I really need to format the stream better. Show Mechagodzilla is a classic design. You can't really go wrong with it. I like this movie a lot. I think it's quite good. Not a lot, but I think it's quite good. I wish the fight scenes were more prominent, because Godzilla shows up at the very beginning, and then he kind of disappears for the entire middle act. I feel like they could have had one more fight scene in the middle to kind of balance it out, because it's just the beginning and the end, and then you have this long middle section that has some fun spy, like the spy plot with like the secret spy who fights the monkey people on the boat. It's fun, but it could definitely be better. And Terror of Mechagodzilla, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Huxley, but honestly, I think it's just kind of a worse version. I like Titanosaurus more than King Caesar, but I feel like the pacing is even kind of worse in this one. I think I kind of have the same feelings I have towards Biollante. I want to like it more than I do, but I just don't. Also, can we talk about how Terror of Mechagodzilla did the whole robot daughter plotline before FNAF did? Like, the dude literally creates a perfect recreation of his daughter in android form, and it's literally just Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, it's just FNAF before FNAF. So, thanks to my Godzilla knowledge, I can say that Five Nights at Freddy's sister location ripped off Terror of Mechagodzilla. So, there's some fun knowledge there. Terror is... I like Titano. He's cool. Oh, true. It does have nudity. I forgot about that. You know, maybe we should put it a tier higher then. Okay. No, I agree. King Caesar does beat Megalon, but thankfully he doesn't beat Megalon in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. It's only in like the external media, so I'm not gonna do any bias for this film. Plus, Mechagodzilla has to be better because it has Anguirus, and Anguirus is the GOAT. So, all right, Godzilla vs. Mothra in 1992. People dog on this movie so much, and I don't know why. Personally, I think it's almost as good as the original. But as the original Mothra vs. Godzilla. I think I'm gonna put it in between the Mothra movies, the two Rebirth and Mothra films. Actually, I'll put Invasion a little bit lower. Actually, let me redesign this list. Let me reevaluate here, because Godzilla vs. Megalon's so much fun. I love that movie. But do I like it more than the Rebirth 3? Yeah, I do. I think that's a good placement for it, because I think it's better than Rebirth. Yeah, I'll put it there. I'll put it under Rebirth and Mothra 1. I think 1992 is a hella underrated film. I've said that about a lot of these Godzilla films I've noticed, but I think this one in particular, everyone hates on Mothra 1992 just because it's like, oh, it's a worse version of the original 64 one. But it's good. Yeah, it is kind of a remake, but I think Batra adds a nice little change up. And also, I wouldn't say it's even a remake of Mothra vs. Godzilla, because it has a decent amount of different plot beats. For example, Mothra starts off as a larva in 1992. It's like the reverse. She ends as the Imago. And she actually doesn't die in Mothra 1992. She survives and beats Godzilla with the help of Batra, which is cool. And I think Batra's a sick kaiju concept. Just a lot of great scenes, I think, overall. Great version of Mothra's theme as well. I think Godzilla vs. Mothra 1992 is a great movie, and I don't get why everyone overlooks it so much, because it's not just a remake of Mothra vs. Godzilla. But, yeah, so, okay, we're actually starting to get towards the end of these movies. So let's go to the Reiwa era for a little bit, with Shin. And finally with Shin, we have a new top dog. I know Shin's controversial. I know a lot of people don't like Shin Godzilla. And those people are wrong. I'm sorry to say it. At least in my opinion. I don't want to actually, I'm not saying if you're actually wrong, but Shin Godzilla, fun fact, was the very first Japanese Godzilla movie I ever watched. It was the one that actually got me started on my binge sesh of watching every single Godzilla movie last year, and it's the entire reason why I even made a Godzilla. Shin Godzilla is the reason I'm a Godzilla fan in the first place. If it wasn't for Shin Godzilla, I would not be here right now. Because Shin Godzilla, what convinced me to watch Shin Godzilla was the atomic breath scene. I saw it on YouTube, and it was amazing, and it's even better if you actually watch the movie. I love the political commentary in Shin Godzilla. It shows that, how the modern system of government has so many flaws and points out all the issues that if in an apocalyptic event, how useless it is and how quickly everything would fall apart. Like the scene of the president just getting obliterated by the laser beam just shows you how it's so quick and so sudden. This important character just gets wiped out like that, just dead. That shit shows you how terrifying Godzilla really can be. And I love the characters of Shin Godzilla. They're not the most fleshed out in the world, but they all kind of function, all the characters function as one machine, and that's really cool. And it's also so cool to see them, how they fight Godzilla and how unique of a way they take down Godzilla. It's just, I think Shin Godzilla is a masterpiece. I think it's it's top 3. It's that good, and I think people underrate it a lot because it's not the typical Godzilla beats. It's not the most entertaining one in the world, but I think the political commentary just makes me love it, which is weird because I don't usually like politics in my movies, but I think for this movie in particular it just works so well. So yeah, I love Shin Godzilla. Hate me if you want it. Hate me for it if you want, but I love Shin. It's the reason I'm a Godzilla fan, so. And plus, Shin Godzilla is an amazing design. It's my second favorite Godzilla design. Still, I love Shin's design. I love the concept of Shin Godzilla. I think he's such a cool iteration. But yeah, oh, that's rough. Karatrox, the Japanese, the anime trilogy is rough. That's rough. Final Wars is a great place to start if that's your first Toho Godzilla film. Son of Godzilla. Yeah, not a great look for... not a great first impression of what Godzilla looks like. Definitely not. Not the worst first introduction. It could have been the anime trilogy, like poor Karatrox over here. Okay. What else? All right. One controversial pick to another controversial pick. King of the Monsters. I think I'd rather watch 2000 over it, honestly. I don't think 2019. I like some scenes in it. I think Rodan's awakening is phenomenal. Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Basically, any monster scene in this movie is really good. The problem is, like, every monster scene in this movie is excellent. It's so good. The problem is the human scenes are horrendous. I think it has the worst human cast of any of the MonsterVerse movies. I don't like anyone but, Dr. Serizawa, who dies in a really good scene, like one of the best scenes in the entire franchise. But King of the Monsters, I think, has the highest highs, but also the lowest lows. I think the human story is just dumb. I hate the human story. It's so bad. It's so bad. I think 2014 is better. I think Godzilla 2014 is a better movie. The sense of scale from 2014 is still somewhat there. It's not quite as good, like, sense of scale as 2014 was, but it is still pretty good. It's better than, like, the Adam Wingard ones were. But King of the Monsters, just the human story drops it down so much. If it weren't for the humans, it would be like in Mothra tier. But unfortunately, the human story just prevents me from ever wanting to watch it. I'd rather just watch Godzilla vs. Gigan or Invasion of Astro Monster over it. Just King of the Monsters it just drops the ball, unfortunately, for me. It's still decent. I still like it because the monster scenes are that good. Like, especially Mothra's awakening. She is so pretty. Like, the like godlike wings, like, that scene is just breathtaking. It's beautiful. But, anyway, let's keep going. MonsterVerse. Godzilla vs. Kong. I'm sorry. I don't think Godzilla. I think Godzilla vs. Kong is my least favorite MonsterVerse movie. I just found it to be kind of underwhelming and boring. I'm not the biggest Kong fan. Also, I know people have been asking me to make a King Kong ranking. That's probably not going to happen because I'm not really a huge fan of King Kong, to be blatantly honest. But this movie has obviously the fight scenes are good. I just think everything else around it's weirdly boring. Like, this movie just does not really. This movie kind of puts me to sleep. To put in perspective, I hung out with a bunch of friends, and we all got together. We wanted to watch a Godzilla movie, so we did Godzilla vs. Kong, and it bored us to death. And then immediately after, we watched Godzilla vs. Megalon, and that shit was amazing in comparison. Just Godzilla vs. Kong is just boring to me. I just don't care about it. I would rather watch, yes, even this movie, because I do like the world building of City on the Edge of Battle. I know everyone hates it, but I'd rather watch. Would I watch Hedorah over it? Hedorah is worse, but, like, it's also more interesting is the thing. But okay, okay. We'll put it there. I'll put it a little bit higher. I think it's better than Son of Godzilla, but anything else is just whatever. Mechagodzilla's cool. I do like Mechagodzilla, but I don't know. I just don't really want to watch this one again, to be honest. It's just boring. Okay. Moving on. Let's go back to Heisei. It's been a bit since we did a Heisei film. Actually, it's been longer since we did Millennium. Yeah, I'll do Against Mechagodzilla first. Yeah, it's a good movie. I don't think. I love the Kiryu saga. The Kiryu saga is just great. And Against Mechagodzilla, it's weird because Against Mechagodzilla was directed by the same dude who did Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. And if you watch the two movies kind of back to back, you'll notice how similar they are. They essentially have identical stories, except swap out Megaguirus with Kiryu. And it's so much better. It's so much better than Megaguirus was. It feels like the director learned from his mistakes and made a better version. And Against Mechagodzilla is peak. Not quite peak, because it's not at Mothra tier, but Against Mechagodzilla, great. Special effects, fantastic. Godzilla's design is great. Kiryu is the best Mechagodzilla. Fight me on that if you want, but I think most people agree with that opinion that Kiryu is the best Mechagodzilla. Fight scenes are great. The story is great. I love, like, the whole. God, I'm losing my train of thought here. I love the main character. They're a great main character, but hear me out. Another controversial take. Tokyo SOS is just Against Mechagodzilla, but even better. It's like it takes everything against Mechagodzilla. Also, I think I put G 2014 above Mothra 61. Actually, no, I put Tokyo SOS above Mothra 61. Tokyo SOS is against Mechagodzilla plus Mothra, which automatically means it's better. That just means it's better. It has Mothra. It has the best Mothra design. Well, I don't want to spoil that. It's not. Tokyo SOS Mothra isn't going to be number one in the Mothra design ranking, but it's going to be high up there. It's one of the best Mothra designs. But Tokyo SOS Mothra is great. You get more Kiryu, which is great. You get Godzilla. It's like 3 of the best designed kaiju in the entire franchise, all in one film. And I love how Kiryu, I love Kiryu's character arc in Tokyo SOS especially, where he sacrifices himself. And, I think Tokyo SOS is more, and it's cool because Tokyo SOS is a sequel to Mothra 1961. They even bring back Dr. Chujo, my favorite character in the entire franchise. So it's just Tokyo SOS is perfect. Nearly perfect in my opinion. I love Tokyo SOS so much. Honestly, no, I put it above 2014. Tokyo SOS is just one of my favorites. I love it so much. And everyone underrates it so much. Everyone says, oh, it's not that good. It's just worse than Against Mechagodzilla. No. I will die on the hill that Tokyo SOS is amazing. Okay, moving on. Anyway. Alright, so now we have Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, which is... It exists. It's a movie. Honestly, I'm going to put it in the same degree as Space Godzilla. These 2 Godzilla movies, I think, are the ones I actually care about the least. They're the 2 Godzilla movies that exist. They exist. They're really not that interesting, all things considered. They exist. They're just... I don't really even have many things to describe Mechagodzilla 2 and Space Godzilla with. They're kind of boring, honestly. They're just average. They're so painfully average. And I think... Raids Again, I'd rather watch. Oh, thank you. JJ the SpongeBob Fantastic. Glad you love the channel. But also, Caratrox, I'm not making a squirrel tier list. I'm sorry. I don't even know how to approach that. But yeah, Mechagodzilla 2, Space Godzilla especially. It's just, they're not that interesting. They're very forgettable. Space Godzilla itself, the monster, is awesome. But weirdly enough, I feel like his film is still really forgettable. I feel like the actual movie is very forgettable, despite the monster being awesome. Just, I don't really have any strong feelings towards Space Godzilla or Mechagodzilla 2. They're okay. But I feel like they're not that interesting. Mechagodzilla 2 has Rodan, which is pretty cool. I do like Heisei Rodan a lot, but... I like Godzilla's son in the Heisei era. Much better than Manila, that's for sure. But overall... It could be better. It really could. They're just not that interesting, and I'd rather watch any of these other movies. It's definitely not it's not Rodan tier, despite having Rodan, but the tier names were never that important. Also, I've not used this discussion tab a single time, so we'll just get rid of it. Okay, we're running low. We're actually nearing the end of the stream, so that's good. The 2-part stream that definitely meant to be 2 parts. So let's talk about Singular Point. Let's head back to Reiwa for a second. I don't want to put Singular Point. Singular Point. I think Singular Point is pretty cool. It does get way too obsessed with science jargon towards the end. I actually kind of understood what the idea of the show was. It's just that they put way too much jargon in when they really didn't need to. They could have simplified the wording of a lot of things and it would have made way more sense. But then the creator is just no, I gotta make it sound like I'm super smart. Just keep it simple, man. It does not need to be that complex. And I feel like that was definitely the biggest issue with it, was they tried going too complex, but the actual action scenes were really well done. I felt like most of the characters were endearing. I feel like May was the only character I wasn't a huge fan of, which I know is the second main character, but they weren't bad. It's just their story was nowhere near as interesting as the other character, which, despite the fact I like them more. Let's look it up real quick. That's the thing with the Godzilla franchise. I can never remember the name of like any characters. Who's? Oh yeah, Yoon. I think he's a great character. He's very interesting. Godzilla Ultimate's cool as hell. I love the new designs. They gave a lot of old classic Showa kaiju, like Anguirus from Singular Point. This is the best Anguirus design. Like, this is the best Anguirus design. I love this design. It is so good. It is such a good design. Just Singular Point, weird story. Definitely a weird story, so it does tank it a little bit, but I think the characters definitely propel it. Plus, it brought back Jet Jaguar, so that's a plus. I think Singular Point has a lot to love. It's weird. It's certainly weird. But it's pretty cool. Rodan's Singular Point design is not necessarily that's terrible. It's just that he doesn't look very unique. He just kind of looks like a normal pterodactyl. Okay, we're running low in films now. Let's do the other show. Let's do Monarch. I think Monarch was really, really good. Like, really, really good. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there. I think Monarch was awesome. It's my favorite thing that come out of the MonsterVerse since 2014. I like that they actually had really interesting characters, and I wish the same level of detail, like of interesting fleshed out characters, went to the ones that are actually in the movies. But Lee Shaw, one of the best characters in the entire franchise, in my opinion, is such an interesting, and I love that he was played by Wyatt Russell and Kurt Russell, two goated actors, like a father and son, like. Because I love Wyatt Russell and I love Kurt Russell. I love both of them. So they play this amazing character, like, through different time periods. And I like how much it fills in the gaps of the other MonsterVerse movies and really helps develop the lore. I love it. That shit makes me giddy. The stuff taking place in the past is obviously better than the stuff that happens in the future. But the past stuff is so endearing to me. I, like, love learning the backstory of the MonsterVerse. It's so much fun. But I know it's not everyone's cup of tea because it's not like super big monster action, although there is one really good fight scene at the end. But for the most part, it's more like developing the lore, which it is slower paced and not that much about big monster action. And I love big monster action, but I also love world building almost just as much as big monster action, which is why City on the Edge of Battle is as high as it is, because it has really good world building. But yeah, all right, we have 5 movies, and I feel like all of these are pretty damn heavy hitters, but we'll start with the Millennium Era. GMK. It's good. I mean, we know it's good. I still like Tokyo SOS more, personally, but GMK is great. I've never seen Cloverfield, but GMK is just absolutely a great film, and obviously has a lot of elements that would be later carried on into -1. And I love how evil GMK Godzilla is. He is just absolutely a menace. He just loves killing people, and it's cool to see such a Godzilla that is so, like, aggressive. And it's cool that King Ghidorah, for the first time ever, actually is like is a good guy, you know? Oh, C-Rex, banger first Godzilla movie to start with, but I like how King Ghidorah starts off as a good guy. Like, he's actually a good guy. He's trying to help the planet for once. It's a nice role reversal. And of course, we get my boy Baragon. He finally gets some respect, which is nice to see. His design looks great in the movie too. I actually like GMK Mothra's design. I know people. Oh, that's not what I want to do. I know GMK Mothra people clown on a lot, but I've come around on this design. It's not my favorite Mothra design, but I like this design. I love the purple in the wings and the eyes. Great design, honestly. It's a nice shakeup. It's a nice shakeup for like a one-off, you know? That was a good design. Okay, but now let's move on to Godzilla versus Desatoya! Okay, yeah. Listen, I know GMK got rid of Varan and Anguirus, but I'm sorry, Mothra and Ghidorah are better than Varan and Anguirus. You know, screw Varan. I'd rather have Mothra. Sorry, variant fans. It's Mothra supremacy will always win. You see all those moths back there? But yeah, Godzilla versus Desatoya. I like it. I do love it. That's why it's in Mothra tier. But it's not. It's like of the heavy hitter Godzilla movies that are like the masterpiece Godzilla movies. It's probably my. I feel like it's the weakest of the masterpiece Godzilla movies. It has a lot of great things about it. It's just that personally, the films above it have even more things that I like over it. And obviously, Desatoya is like amazing, like great kaiju. Not my favorite from Heisei. I do prefer Biollante, but film-wise, it is the best one from Heisei. I think most people agree on that. And it is a great conclusion to that saga. Has so many great fight scenes. Burning Godzilla is one of the coolest designs in the entire series. And I love that Destroyer is like a living version of the Oxygen Destroyer. That is such a cool, like, villain idea. Like, the living version of the weapon that actually killed Godzilla is just amazing. Just great movie. It's just that I prefer other movies over it, you know? It's that kind of thing. Okay. G times K. It's good. I put it above Invasion of Astro Monster. Yeah, I'll put it above it. And Godzilla times Kong is dumb fun. It cranks up the ridiculous meter from Godzilla vs. Kong and just goes full absurd, and I fully respect it. The human characters are definitely better than they were in the last two MonsterVerse movies. Trapper is such a good addition to the cast. I love Trapper. And no, Godzilla vs. Kong's not better. G times K is better. Or GXK. I'm going to call it times K. You can't stop me. Listen, here's why Godzilla times Kong is better. It has Mothra. And I'm sorry, nothing tops beating Mothra. Nothing tops Mothra. If Mothra is in a movie, it is automatically better. That's just that. I don't make the rules here. That's just how it works, okay? And yeah, no. Seeing Mothra in that movie was such a big surprise because I wasn't spoiled on it. So Mothra showing up in that movie like caught me off guard when I watched it in theaters. I was like screaming, like, "Oh my Moth!" I was so happy. But yeah, no, that alone probably elevates it further than it probably should be on the list if I'm being completely honest. But you know, Mothra absolutely elevates it. All right, 2 more to go. Oh yeah, I didn't like that Tiamat was wasted. Godzilla should have been in that movie more though. That's why it's not like any higher than it is right now. Godzilla was kind of unimportant in that movie. He felt like he was just there. He didn't really feel like he was important to the plot. He was just kind of there. Though I love Shimu, great new kaiju. That was like I think it's my favorite of like the new MonsterVerse kaiju, like MonsterVerse original kaiju. I think Shimu is Shimu. I always forget what letter it is, but I think it's Shimo. Favorite kaiju that was introduced in the MonsterVerse. Scar King's kind of a boring villain, but Garatrox, what are you doing? But what else? I'm losing my train of thought. I'm losing my mind here. That's what happens when you talk 2 hours of Godzilla. What was I gonna say? I was gonna have this awesome big. I also wish Mothra was in the movie more, admittedly, but. Speaking of Mothra being in a movie more, Final Wars. This movie's amazing. It's so good. This was the final Godzilla. When I was watching all the Godzilla movies, this was the last one I watched. Up until it was before G times K came out, but this was the last Godzilla movie I watched. And oh my god, that was an amazing way to end off my huge binge sesh, wow, of all the Godzilla movies. Absolutely phenomenal. It was so good. It was so stupid. It is one of the dumbest movies I have ever seen. Like, absolutely one of the dumbest. Oh, the Rian Johnson of Goji films. Well, here's the thing. I actually like Episode 8 of Star Wars. So, guess controversial of that. No, Final Wars. Okay, listen. It gave us this design of Gigan. It gave us the Gigan Rise meme. It gave us Captain Gordon. Gave us Captain Gordon, the best, one of the best Godzilla characters of all time. You can't change that fact. He's great. You got Final Wars Godzilla. Like, look at this dude. He's so cool. You know, he's fighting Gigan. I have all these figures on my desk, 'cause of course I do. Like, rip my glove doing that, actually. Gigan ripped my glove. Just 2004, like, and also I have bias towards Final Wars because it came out in 2004, which was the year I was born. So, you know, gotta like the Godzilla movie that came out the same year. It's so action-packed, nonsensical. It's just nonstop action, and that's what makes it great. The Zillions in that movie are hilarious. I love the Zillion controller. My favorite Godzilla human villain by far. He is so unhinged and out of pocket, and I love it. And the awesome human fight, like kung fu scenes, like Matrix-based, hilarious. Just everything about Final Wars is peak. It just is. It's amazing. It's like, I love it in the same way I like Spider-Man 3. Objectively, not a good film, but in terms of pure entertainment value, you will never get bored, and you will have an amazing time with it. And that's Final Wars in a nutshell. And finally, folks, we have Godzilla -1. It's the best one. It's the best Godzilla movie. I watched this. It's also the best movie theater experience I ever had. I've never had a theater experience as magical or amazing as watching Godzilla -1. I watched it on New Year's of 2024, and holy shit, what a great way to start off that year. And then I also watched it a month later in theaters again to watch the minus color version. And honestly, I think minus color is actually even better than the regular version, especially for the opening scene with the Godzillasaurus, or like the smaller version of Godzilla. That scene is elevated so much more in black and white. It really amplifies the horror of it because you can't see him as well. And just so good. Just -1. I don't even think there's a point of even describing why -1's good. You know why it's good. Everyone knows why -1's good. It won an Oscar for a reason. -1 is just... It's phenomenal. It's not even good, like, you know, compared to the other Godzilla films. It's just a good film in general. It's just a phenomenal film. One of the best films I've ever seen in my life. It is just amazing. The characters are so well done. You can feel like Shikishima's, you know, you can feel his pain. You can feel his pain. You can feel his emotions. The actors just do an amazing job. The side characters are fantastic. The story's great. The action scenes are great. Godzilla looks fantastic. He's a menace. The action scenes are some of the best. The atomic breath scene is the best atomic breath scene outside of Shin Godzilla that we've ever seen. And God, -1 is something. It's magical. It really is. But anyways, there we go. There's the full tier list. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm actually going to make some changes probably. Because holy shit, this tier list looks ugly as hell. All right, we're gonna flatten it out a little bit. Let's flatten it out a little bit so that this doesn't look like this. I just don't hate that many Godzilla movies is the thing. I like most Godzilla movies. At worst, they're just kind of, you know, like mid, I think is what most of them are. I'll move Planet Eater down since everyone wants it down in that tier. Ibra tier ironically doesn't go in Ibra tier. I respect that. I respect the first third of that movie too much. Astral Monsters has the good final act. Obviously, my opinions are probably going to change later on. Like, this list isn't like my permanent opinions forever. Like, this is... It will budge probably, knowing me. My opinions constantly change all of the time. But I think Rodan tier is good. I think I leave this the same. King Ghidorah tier. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where everything is in this tier. I like 2000 more. Oh hey, the lo-fi ended. Let's replay it since we're almost done. The stream is almost over, by the way, but all right. What do I demote? What do I demote in this tier? Do I demote Godzilla vs. Gigan? No, I don't want to demote anything, though. That's the thing. I'd rather watch Godzilla vs. Gigan. Let's do that, and then... Honestly, Against Mechagodzilla is better than Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, but I think King Ghidorah, and it's just sheer absurdity and how... It's kind of the same value as Final Wars. It's just like... I think I do that, yeah. Just the sheer absurdity of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah is just so good. It's so absurd, and I love it. But I think... Okay, obviously my opinions will probably change later on, but I think this list for now... I think I like this list. So we got... Start from the bottom. In Manila tier, we have Rebirth of Mothra 2, and then Godzilla 1998. The only two Godzilla films I hate. These are the only two ones I actively dislike. Then in Ebro tier, we have ones that are like... I don't hate them, but I also, like... They're not good. They're just kind of there. We have All Monsters Attack, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, Godzilla, Planet of the Monsters, Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, and Godzilla the Planet Eater. And then we have in Rodan tier movies that are good. They're like they're middle of the road. They're mid. We have Godzilla vs. or Ibra the Sea Monster, Destroy All Monsters, Godzilla City on the Edge of Battle, Godzilla vs. Hedorah, that's Son of Godzilla, Godzilla vs. Kong, Terror of Mechagodzilla, and Godzilla vs. Biollante. Yeah, I actually did get it from Box Lunch. I actually got it as a gift for my friend because they work at Box Lunch. But yeah, so, you know, got Destroya, you know. It's pretty cool. Actually, speaking of Destroya, I got a figure of him. Okay. And then King Ghidorah tier. These are movies I like. These are good. These are good Godzilla movies. Even if Mechagodzilla 2 and Space Godzilla aren't like my favorite, they're still fun watches. I did enjoy watching both of them. Box Lunch is like a kind of a nerd store. It's usually found at like malls and stuff. It's like a less goth version of Hot Topic, I think is a pretty good way to describe it. Like less kind of scene kid type version of Hot Topic. Yeah. But I like Space Godzilla and Mechagodzilla 2. I think they deserve King Ghidorah tier because I do enjoy them as films. It's just that they're really forgettable, weirdly enough. Like, I watch them and then I immediately forget everything that happened. Then we have Raids Again. I'll die on the hill that Raids Again is a solid movie. King Kong vs. Godzilla, just a solid movie overall. Great, fun fight scenes, memorable moments. Just, it's good. Yeah. Yeah, they might not have them in Canada. I went to the big mall in Toronto a few weeks ago, and yeah, they only had like a Hot Topic there. And then we have Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Super stupid. Plenty of but amazing dumb moments that just make it work so well. And Show Mechagodzilla is awesome with all his absurd number of just gadgets he can fire out at Godzilla. Like, it's the most overkill thing I've ever seen, and I love it. Godzilla 2019. Amazing kaiju scenes, but the human story really drags it down. Godzilla 2000, just an all-around solid movie. Nothing exceptional, but it gets the job done. Good introduction to the series. Singular Point, really cool monster scenes, good story, but it does start to get a little too convoluted for its own good, and it can make it kind of, you know, it can deter some people from watching it, because honestly, it kind of just gets way too much into scientific jargon. Then we have Godzilla vs. Gigan. Again, plenty of stupid things. It has the cockroach aliens. The aliens that are just big cockroaches that look so stupid, but I love it. Return of Godzilla, great political commentary. It does drag a bit. The pacing's not super good. There's a few too many things where it just drags out a bit too much. Invasion of Astro Monster. Just a very solid alien movie. It's not really that much of a Godzilla movie since it's more focused on the Zillion alien plot, but I think it's an actually interesting plot. Helped by the fact they got some great actors on board for it. Also, Huxley, what's your favorite villain design? Like Godzilla villain? Or like just in general? well, I think chat's delayed a little bit, so I'll wait for that. Godzilla times Kong, dumb fun. It's not really serious at all. You know, it doesn't need to be. It's just a lot of dumb fun with some great scenes. Like, nothing will top Godzilla flying, like, parkouring in Hollow Earth and just kicking the monkey, like the giant monkeys. That shit is so fun. Godzilla villain. My favorite villain design? Probably, is Biollante. I guess Biollante can kind of be considered a villain. But in terms of straight up villain, I'd say Megalon, but specifically 2023 Megalon. But yeah, so then we have Godzilla vs. Mothra 1992. Honestly, a great just reintroduction of Mothra. You know, brings back kind of the mysticism of her character. And she actually gets a W for once. She beats Godzilla and doesn't die at the end. So there's some major bonus points for that. Then we have Rebirth of Mothra 1, where she does die in that film. But then we get introduced to Mothra Leo, who is just an amazing kaiju. I know everyone says he's too overpowered, but you know what? I like the Moth being overpowered. He's my favorite. Well, Mothra, Leo, and Mothra, like my favorite kaiju. Both of them are. Rebirth of Mothra 3 takes everything the first one did, does it better. Godzilla vs. Megalon, again, dumb fun. I'm gonna try to just go quick now. Monarch, super interesting world building. Mothra vs. Godzilla, absolute classic of the Showa era, and just a great meeting of two of the best kaiju of all time. Against Mechagodzilla, just introduces Kiryu. King Ghidorah, stupid, dumb fun, once again, but done even better than the previous ones. You know, and then I think I've said enough for the rest. You know, Destroya, amazing. Mothra 1961, great introduction to the best kaiju of all time. GMK, very, like, kind of darker film. That brings back the darker feel that had been missing for a while. 2014, amazing sense of scale, good, interesting characters. Just, I think 2014 is great. Tokyo SOS is like my biggest guilty pleasure. I love this movie. Great Mothra, great Mechagodzilla, great Godzilla. Just everything about it works. Final Wars, what more needs to be said? And then 54, the one that started all. Shin Godzilla, just one of the most like breathtaking movies I've seen. And then -1, you know, at the top where it belongs in my opinion. But there we go. We're done with that. We're done. I gave my brief reviews of why they're all on the list. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Even if, you know, halfway through that, you know, I got copyright striked by Toho, which is hilarious. Hopefully this was fun to watch. I'll also try to be better next time about actually looking at the comments. I just get caught up in my discussion about talking stuff. Also, my voice really hurts. Holy crap. I'm talking so much. But yeah. Yeah, Invasion of Astro Monster gets overlooked so much just because, like, oh, it doesn't have that much monster action. But, like, the actual main story of it's pretty good and engaging in its own way. If you were Godzilla size, what kaiju would you punch in the face? King Caesar for, you know, disrespecting Megalon so many times. Screw that guy. Don't mess with my man Megalon. Stupid King Caesar. What a loser. Hate that guy. Ah, wow. If it isn't Wheezy, late to the party as per usual. Fashionably late as always. It's like the stream's already over. It's over. It's basically over. We're done. Sure took your time. Can you believe this guy? Absolute guy. You probably don't even... And you also call me Rad Dad. I'm not your dad. Come on. God. But yeah, I guess that's it. I don't really have a good way to segue out of, you know, the segue and outro, I guess. Oh, you've been here the whole time. I don't believe you. Silently. Okay. You know, somehow I don't believe you at all, but yeah, I'll take the benefit of a doubt. But yes, but actually before I go, let's do a little sneak peek. Oh, where is it? There it is. Of the next video. That's not Mothra. Mothra is going to be the one after that because Mothra is going to be like ridiculously long because, you know. But Godzilla for Game Boy. This is going to be the next video. I'm currently on the editing phase of it, so that will be out hopefully by the end of March. So my channel is not super dead anymore, so that's good. All right. And with that, I'm out. I'm going to eat pizza, probably, and all that good stuff. Fairly well.